Piastri won a highly dramatic and controversial Hungarian Grand Prix for his first full win in F1 after teammate Lando Norris eventually heeded pleading messages from McLaren pit wall to see the lead that he'd inherited through their pit stop strategy in a gripping and increasingly contentious 70-lap race, which also saw old rivals Hamilton and Verstappen collide late on in a scrap over third place. Piastri overtook the pole-sitting Norris at the start and appeared to be impressively cruising towards his first Grand Prix win on just his 35th start, but the McLaren drivers found their position reversed for the start of the final stint after the team made a tactical pull to pit Norris first to not lose a position to Hamilton behind, who'd stopped. Piastri was pitted 2 laps later and re-emerged on the track behind Norris as the 2 laps his teammate had spent on new faster tyres meant he gained track position. McLaren though planned not to shift the order back, so not to disadvantage Piastri, and duly informed Norris that he needed to see position at his convenience, but high drama and uncertainty quickly unfolded as Norris immediately maintained the lead for 20 more laps into the race's closing stages. From what initially polite to increasingly stern radio messages from Will Joseph that he needs to move over any interest in the team to ensure fairness, Norris finally slowed down and relinquished the lead with just a few laps left. "I know what I'm going to do, I know what I'm not going to do," insisted Norris. "Of course I'm going to question it and challenge it, and that's what I did. It was not easy, but I also understood the situation I was in. I was quite confident, always by the last lap, that I would have done it." Behind McLaren's dominant, albeit ultimately tense 1-2, Mercedes finished third for Hamilton for his second consecutive podium, despite a lap 63 collision with Verstappen when the old title rivals were duelling into turn 1. Despite making contact with the Red Bull driver briefly going airborne, both cars still managed to finish, although Verstappen dropped behind Ferrari's Charles Leclerc into 5th. It capped what an ultimately miserable afternoon for the World Championship leader, whose race was peppered by regular angry and frustrated radio messages with GP. Hamilton and Verstappen escaped any punishment, with no driver predominantly to blame, according to stewards. Sainz took 6th in a second Ferrari after losing ground to Leclerc, while the race panned out particularly badly for Red Bull, with Verstappen having gone 3 races without a win for the first time since 2021. There was some relative pressure as Perez managed to get up to finish 7th. Both McLaren have moved ahead of the Constructors' Championship in Ferrari, and now just 51 points behind Red Bull. Norris, meanwhile, trimmed his deficit to Verstappen from 84 to 76 points. The margin would not have been points fewer, but ultimately not heeded team orders. George Russell started and finished a place behind Perez, and RB's Tsunoda and Aston Martin Stroll rounded out the points. But on the Hungary weekend, where they have absolutely dominated the timesheet to underline their credentials as a serious threat to championship leaders Red Bull over the remainder of the season, team orders have appeared to be the last thing that was likely to overshadow Norris's and McLaren's afternoon. At the start, Norris had immediately lost the advantage of pole for second time in 4 races. A slightly superior start from Piastri gave him the lead. Norris entered turn 2 behind Verstappen, although the Red Bull driver was sold to give the position back as he gained it running wide through the runoff area on the outside of the McLarens before returning to the track. And Piastri, already an F1 winner from last year's Qatar sprint, proven an accomplished front runner by the race's first half and led Norris by 3.5 seconds by the time the second place McLaren pitted from his stop for the end of lap 17. At one stage in the second stint, that lead had grown to almost 5 seconds, although an off-course moment at turn 11 where the McLaren would have picked up dirt on its tyres cost Piastri momentum in the laps that followed and meant Norris was back to within 2 seconds behind him, and the pit wall call came first for the McLaren to pit first again. When the advantage of fresher and therefore faster tyres, Norris gained track position over Piastri when he stopped. That's when the drama began to unfold. On lap 49, Norris was informed to give the place back at its convenience. Piastri, who was run wide again on his return to the track to lose some more time to his teammate. "Over to you, Lando. We will swap positions, but we want to avoid Lando giving up a lot of race time." But rather than getting closer, the gap increased. Sensing the development problem, Lando was told 10 laps to go, just think about saving tyres, etc. And Norris said cares to catch up. Having initially adopted a softer approach, it kind of got more firmer. 3 laps in and the urgency ramped up. There's a championship to win. You can't do it by yourself. You're going to need Oscar. It was when Norris was told of the risk of a safety car that he decided to let Piastri pass and said, "You don't need to say anything." All while that drama was unfolding for the win, the battle for the final podium position was fought between old rivals Hamilton and Verstappen. Having been undercut by the Mercedes first round stop, Verstappen had already failed one overtake on Hamilton, and in change of strategy, Red Bull delayed Verstappen's final stop to give him fresher tyres. When he quickly puked off the Ferrari, Hamilton proved a different matter. At the lap 6 63, Verstappen sensed the gap down the inside and went for it, but disaster struck, locked the brakes, and they tagged with going airborne, and he was passed by Leclerc. Verstappen blamed Hamilton for the incident over the team radio and said he kept turning right. Hamilton described it as a racing incident, in which the stewards ultimately agreed. And before I go, let me run you through classification from the race. Piastri in first. I think he deserved the win. I think it's fair to say he got the start. He obviously would have been screwed over on strategy, but yeah, he deserved the win. Norris will be frustrated to miss out on yet another win. Maybe didn't give the best impression over team radio. Hamilton, a really solid drive from him, probably in a car that didn't deserve to be on the podium. Leclerc in fourth, good job from him as well to beat Verstappen, obviously quite fortunate, but still. Verstappen fifth, just a rare performance from Verstappen where he's angry and not much goes right for him, led to a disappointing performance. Sainz in sixth, Perez in seventh. I think both Sainz will probably be disappointed. Perez is a good comeback drive. Russell probably will expect to beat Perez, but still get back in the points. It's not a bad drive. Tsunoda and Stroll did well to score points. Alonso, I think missing out on the points to Stroll will be a bit disappointing for him. And similar story for Ricciardo. Hulkenberg, Albon, I think did good jobs with the car they had, but just their cars didn't have the pace for points. Magnussen a bit off, but not too far off. And then you've got Bottas and Sargent. Bottas, just struggling with his car. I think you can say the same for Ocon. But Sargent Joe just away off his teammate. And Gasly, just what a triple weekend he had. Nothing really went his way at all. So anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share and subscribe. Follow us on our socials. Link in the description below for daily F1 news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now. That would be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.